everybody! Today I'm going to be reviewing this special edition Foxglove underbust corset made by Versatile Corsets, which you can also find on the Corset Connection website. So here is the front, the side, the back, and the other side. This corset is one of the longest underbust corsets from Versatile Corsets. It's actually 13.5 inches in the center front, and then from the underbust to the lap area is 12.5 inches. However, you can get this corset custom made for your size, your measurements. So if you want to get this cut down a little bit shorter, then you're absolutely able to. For the circumferential measurements, this is a size 22 standard size corset. The underbust area is 28 inches, the iliac crest area is about 29 inches, and the lower hip is about 34 inches. So it's very similar in measurements compared to the corset that I had reviewed last week, except that this corset actually has adjustable hip ties on each side, which is very convenient to fit my hips. So because I have the hip ties a little bit open, you can see that it dramatically changes the silhouette of this corset. It's more conical in the rib cage, but then it rounds out into nice rounded hips. So this is actually very comfortable for my hips. So here is the Foxglove corset laying flat, and for the materials of this, the outer layer is this gorgeous silk, genuine silk, and it has more dupioni silk on the sides here, and on the inside, the strength fabric here is this white twill. Here's what the tag looks like for Versatile Corsets, and then you flip it on the other side. It has the care instructions, it's handmade in the USA, and it has the waist size right there. I'll turn this corset to the inside so that you can see the pattern a little bit more clearly. So this has a 6-panel pattern. Here's 1, 2, 3 makes the front of the corset, and then 4, 5, and then this last grommet panel here makes 6. The construction is a little bit complicated because the fashion layer here in the center front, at least, is a floating fashion layer, but you can see the bones on the inside here. You can see the boning channels. So it feels actually like they're sandwich boning channels, but what they had done was, instead of laying down strips of twill on the actual inside of the corset, they had laid it down against the lining of this fabric, just in the guts side of the corset. So it still has channels, like strips of twill laid down, where the other side of the bone is protected by this twill lining. It's just that it's in between the two layers. So they're sort of sandwiched, sort of internal. I hope that makes sense the way I described it. It seems that the layers or the panels were actually assembled together using a top stitch here. So it's very sturdy, at least double stitched here. This corset also has a waist tape. It's a 1-inch wide twill waist tape, I believe, running through all the panels of this corset here. I can see the faint outline here. It's invisibly stitched in between the panels, or in between the layers of this corset. So if I hold it on an angle, you might be able to see that outline. Here's a close-up of the binding of the corset. So it's made in the same gorgeous printed silk. It's machine stitched on the outside and also on the inside of the corset here. This corset is also finished with 8 garter tabs, so 4 on each side of the corset. This corset has a huge modesty panel. It's almost 7.5 inches wide, and it's made from 2 layers, or I guess 1 piece of pink dupioni silk just doubled over on itself, so it's unstiffened. It's attached to the corset with just this line of stitching, so if you don't like the modesty panel, you can remove it if you like. Additionally, under the knob side of the bust here, you can see that there is an unstiffened modesty placket, finished in the same beautiful printed, I think it's a Thai silk, and you can see that it's just wide enough so that when you put the two sides together, you don't see any fabric or your shirt poking through or anything like that. And by the way, how absolutely perfectly was this center motif print matched in the center front? This is absolutely gorgeous. What the maker actually had to do here was print match this very tiny center front piece, this one panel that's covering the bust, also the rest of this front panel here, which is the triangle shape, and this second panel, which is also on a diagonal there. So this is very impressive print matching, I have to say. So the bust here, it seems to be 12 inches long. It has 6 loops and pins equidistantly spaced. It's a standard flexible bust, so 1/2 inch on each side, and it is reinforced with another flat steel bone on either side of the bust here. To discuss the bones in this corset, I'm moving to the inside so you can see the channels a little bit more clearly. So there are a total of 22 bones in this corset, 11 on each side. So on the panels here, it's double boned on the seams with 1/4 inch wide flat steel bones. They're quite flexible, so they feel almost like spiral, but I talked to the owner of Versatile Corsets and she says that they use flexible flat steel bones for the sides and more sturdy ones for the front and back. So here's 2, 4, 6, 8 on the sides here. Then there are 2 more flat steel bones sandwiching the grommets, and like I said before, a sturdy flat steel bone next to the busk to reinforce it. So that's 11 on each side for a total of 22. There are 28 2-part size 00 grommets in this corset, so 14 on each side. They're finished in silver. They have about a medium flange around them. They're holding in very nicely. These are my favorite grommets used by a lot of American corset makers, and they are holding in quite fine. I don't see any fraying going on around them. And you can see on the other side, there's a nice big washer. All of them seem to have rolled really, really beautifully. I don't see any splits in this corset and they don't catch on the laces, so I'm quite happy with them. There are another 10 grommets on each side of the corset for the adjustable hip lacing here. So you can see 5 on each side. These ones are also holding in very nicely. And these are the original laces that came with the corset. So they are black, 1/8 inch wide, round cord, and they are quite slippery. They are difficult to keep the corset actually closed in the back. It likes to slide open on its own. So it's hard to tighten it, and it's hard to tie off the bow in this corset and keep everything tight at the same time. I actually had to tighten this using the doorknob method to actually get it decently closed in the back, and I felt like I could still have tightened it a little bit more if I could. The only reason that I kept these laces in here are to show you like how the corset originally comes, but I would much prefer flat nylon like shoelace style laces or just black ribbon to match the sides of this corset here. The price for a regular Foxglove underbust corset by Versatile Corsets starts at $329 US. And if you prefer to have a special summer version of the Foxglove underbust corset, it starts at $369 US. So this concludes my review of the Foxglove underbust corset made by Versatile Corsets and also Corset Connection. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new. If you did, then please remember to click that like button and help support the channel. If you have any comments or questions about this corset or Versatile Corsets or Corset Connection in general, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to get back to you or forward your questions to Nancy. So I will see you all next week for another video. Bye!